All right. Gage's Rage, kick it off. Fantasy 101.
We're going to talk about the last tip in fantasy preseason, setting your lineup. Setting your lineup could be a really tough decision every week. First and foremost, play your best players. Look at matchups. If you're playing against a guy going against Houston and he's a wide receiver, that could be a really rough game because Houston's going to be just dog shit this year. They're going to be up by a ton. They're going to be running the ball. Maybe a receiver doesn't have as great of a game as someone else can have that you may look at as being a less quality player, but having a better matchup. So evaluating that situation every week, it can get you familiar with who's going to be good teams in the NFL, who's going to be the bad teams, and then who's going to produce the most fantasy points. Because fantasy football is very different than real football. You can have a lot of really good fantasy players on a really terrible team that loses every game of the year.
Engage, what's the most important rule of fantasy football?
You never bet against your real team.
Oh, I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say have fun.
Oh,
there's that.
Yeah. Win money. That's the most important rule. But that's what I do too. If my team is going up against the Vikings, I won't play them that week. If they're a stud, I'll play them still.
Don't listen to that advice, people.
That's playing with your heart. That's playing with your heart.
Don't do that.
You can play with your heart.
I 100% agree with Gage. I'm the same way.
If
it's my number one running back, number one wide receiver, they're in the lineup. If I'm deciding between a couple people and they're one of them,
that's a deciding
factor. They go on the bench.
Yes. Totally.
I don't want to root for them. I don't want to cheer for them. I'm watching the Vikings.